Come on, Peter. Let's just do it.
It's heartening to see so many strange new faces here today. I know my mom would be very touched and probably a little suspicious. My mother was a very secretive and private woman. Grandma, you know you were her favorite, right? Even when you were a little baby, she wouldn't let me feed you because she needed to feed you. She was a very difficult woman, which maybe explains me.
I recognize you from your mother.
What? Sometimes I swear I can feel them in the room.
She isn't gone.
She had private rituals, private friends.
Who's gonna take care of me?
You don't think I'm gonna take care of you?
But when you die,
She wasn't altogether there. At the end.
I don't like this. Dad, I don't like this.
What's happening? Peter! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother! Peter! Mom, what's happening? Make it stop! Make it stop!
I just don't want to put any more stress on my family. Grandma, you know you were her favorite, right? Even when you were a little baby, she wouldn't let me feed you because she needed to feed you. She was a very difficult woman, which maybe explains me.
I recognize you from your mother.
What? Sometime
Hello? Yo. I just hope that. Yo. No, it was on default. It should have been picking up audio. Whatever. If it didn't, oh well. Well, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is.
Yeah, and a lot of people have debate whether or not Charlie was aware that Paimon was in her. You know what I mean?
You know what? I feel like, in my opinion,
It seemed like she
I'm gonna turn
felt
this down
like
a little
something
bit.
was wrong.
In my opinion, yeah. See, that's what I would remember. That's what I was trying to get at the other time. Yo, it's from the very beginning. I don't like. I wouldn't say that she knew, but like, she don't like. You could just tell that she was some sort of vessel, and like, you know, after her grandmother dies, she's seen staring at this one open field or something like that. What was it?
Mm-hmm.
And like, if I'm not mistaken, she sees someone standing there, and she walked towards it.
Wasn't it Joan as well again? Was it Joan?
I don't remember if it was Joan or not, but she sees that, and then, when she's at school, the fucking bird crashes into and birds. It's a whole thing in symbolism. Birds crashing into windows. It's been in a lot of horror movies. I've seen it a lot. And the bird crashes into the window. She goes outside with a pair of scissors. By the way, she grabs and like hides or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She cuts off the head of the bird, and then what happens to what is her name? Charlie. What happens to her?
Yeah.
She is beheaded in a freakish accident, man.
And that's how Annie ultimately dies in the end too. She beheads herself. That's how she died.
Yeah. Like, it's such a fucking.
It's the only movie really that's made me feel just the uncanniness of what a cult represents and what it can, what their goals are, and really bringing it to life. And if a cult were to succeed in finding a host, what series of events would happen and what turmoil it would have on a family.
On the world, honestly. Yeah, but yeah, that's basically our rundown on
we're probably gonna talk about each movie for like half an hour.
This is an hour and 30 minutes in, and this is the rundown that we've had on fucking Hereditary. The next one we wanted to speak on. Should we, or do you want to just save this for another time?
It's up to you.
You know what? We're gonna completely skip the next one. Now she is gonna speak. She's gonna. Cause she has seen way more A24. Because honestly, I'm not gonna cap. She kind of put me onto. I ain't gonna cap. She kind of put me onto A24 movies in a way.
Me myself, I haven't seen all of them.
Yeah, there's so many. There's at least 60 A24 movies. Yeah. And obviously, I'm not gonna say that they're perfect and that every movie they make is a fucking banger. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, I still appreciate the whole creative control for every director, for every person who works on the screenplay, who produces everything. Whatever. Besides, point being, we just appreciate this company regardless. And now she's gonna explain to me. She's seen like 6 of A24 movies, but she chose 2 movies that she's seen that have, either have gotten to her the most, or it's just something that, whatever, those are 2 movies, and those movies are gonna be, which one was it? Oh, The Witch.
We can watch the trailer.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So the first one is gonna be The Witch. We're gonna look into, see, this is a witch came out when? 2015. 2015 at a Sundance Festival. Wow, okay, that's cool. Mm-hmm. So that's where it premiered, 2015 Sundance Festival on January 27th. Okay, and alright, so before we go into the details the director was Robert Eggers, who, if I'm not mistaken, is the same director of what other movie did he direct?
The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse, yeah.
But this is his directorial debut.
Yeah, this is his directorial debut. Okay. So this is let's watch it. So here we are. I've seen. Oh, I'm not gonna speak on too much, you know, because I want to let you guys watch it and everything. She saw it all. I vaguely remember because it wasn't. I don't even know what I was doing, but I was not like paying attention to it fully. I would just see bits and parts of it.
It's because you had gone to the park with your family. Remember?
Oh yeah. Oh damn! You watched it by yourself? Like,
Yeah, I was tripping out. I was like, I was home alone. It was starting to get dark, and I didn't think it was gonna be this serious. I should have known by the title, but.
All right, so. Sorry about that. Very unprofessional. Anyways, yeah, you know, I didn't really watch it, so she's gonna be doing most of the talking, explaining, you know, the plot, and just all in all how she felt about it and what feelings were, you know, that it gave her. All right, so here we go. Let me see. Okay. Oh, subtitles on. I don't know if we could put subtitles on this one actually, or yeah, I don't think we have them. Sorry, guys.
What went we out into this wilderness to find? Leaving our country, kindred, our fathers' houses. For what? For the kingdom of God. Let us pray.
Question: was this during the whole manifest destiny thing?
Let me check.
Because it says that was like, oh, we're searching in
The
search of
emergence of religion was
yeah,
very
heavily,
during
and he
time.
just says here. Let me just recap what he says.
Let us pray. Kingdom of God.
1630.
For what? Tree. Kindred, our fathers' houses.
This one is
For what?
1630 New England.
New England. Okay, so this is when they first were the you know the
What did you say, manifest?
manifest destiny.
No, manifest destiny, like as in the
What is that? The
No.
whole when you know.
when religion started popping up.
No, not when religion started popping up, but when they started colonizing here, and apparently they were like pillaging, raping, and taking over land in the name of God. What was that called?
No, they're in New England.
Okay, so this is around the same time when they like, you know, the pioneers came over here and they had settled and
Yeah.
colonized, and
Yeah,
this is
but-
officially the United States now, right?
No, they're. Oh wait.
New England.
Oh yeah. Puritans. That's one. Massachusetts.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Whatever. It was just a little question I had because he does say trying to find a home in the name of the Lord. He says that.
For the kingdom of God. Let us pray.
Imagine.
Yo, imagine some shit like that happening to you.
Go.
Oh, unnerving horror films in recent memory. That is blood.
You've cursed this family.
seems like something we should not be seeing this. So.
Who's there?
Okay, I don't know. Hold on, I'll watch this.
Yeah,
To be honest.
it has like.
And
God, my Lord, and now
no,
begin,
okay,
oh, help me, and
that's
I'll leave my
actually
sin.
probably
For I
gonna
repentant now shall be, from evil I will turn to thee. None ever shall destroy my faith, for I repentant now shall be. Oh God, my Lord, and now begin, oh, help me, and I'll leave my...
Witchcraft, though. It's not like. It's more so about witchcraft. Well, it's in the title, witchcraft. So, like, not anything that would come upon anyone unless you were, like, again, like. You know what I mean?
But the whole time it's like, okay, witches, technically speaking, they worship some form of evil entity, and their whole plot is to like please them, right? And like,
Yeah.
okay, so.
My sin, for I repentant now shall be, from evil I will turn to thee.
Let's leave the wood.
That is very disturbing. Ew, what the fuck was that? I don't even wanna. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much without giving it away.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No possessed. Okay, you know what? This actually my. Stephen King said this movie terrified him. Okay, it's pretty trippy. Okay.
Oh, careful! The plot's right there.
Okay. So just go to here, right? Alright. So continue.
Or you could just keep it on the YouTube thing.
I'll just keep it here just in case, because I could control things, you know.
Well, yeah, it is a gruesome movie. Like, it has a lot of. It's not like there's not like intestines or anything, but it's gruesome in a sense that a lot happens. But in essence, they're banned. They're banned from their village, and that's why they're living alone. You saw in the beginning when they were, because of they had done something that defied the church, and because of that, they weren't allowed to stay in that small town anymore. So they were legit left to be by themselves.
Fed for themselves.
And of course, it's a stressful situation, and that brings out a lot of negativity, which in essence brings out a lot of evils that they encounter. And the girl you see, the main character, Thomason, she's initially
the one that was playing peekaboo with the baby, right?
Yeah, she's initially blamed for the disappearance of
the baby.
Yeah, so it's centered around the fact that her family believes that she's part of something evil because
That she's a witch.
Not that she's a witch, but like that she did something and that she's not owning it, or she's practicing and like.
Okay,
You know what I
like
mean?
something.
And, that's probably as much as I can give away without
Spoiling the plot,
you know.
yeah.
But yeah, it's creepy. I can't believe I watched it by myself.
You can go a little deeper into it if you want.
I'm gonna spoil it if I go deeper.
Well, because you've already kind of told me at the end, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you should say it or not, but if you basically told me that there really is no witch, right?
No, that's not what happens in the end.
Okay, never mind. Then yeah, don't tell me.
Well, it starts affecting their family in a way that they're already struggling to find food. They're already struggling to find resources. And I think that really manifests a lot of the evils that they encounter. And then the brother of Thomason,
the one that was holding the gun.
Yeah, he decides to take it upon himself to go look.
I remember that.
Yeah, and
I remember that.
What's it called? And he's at that age where he's having like, let's be mature here, a sexual awakening. He's like 12 to 13, I think. And you could see already sin has like entered his mind.
He's already like pervert. And I wouldn't
Not
say
perverted, but like any other boy at that age. You know
at the
what I
end,
mean?
once you find out about those things, it's
but again,
like
he's having an inner dilemma because he doesn't think that he should be feeling this way because of again the religious beliefs that were pushed upon them in their town and in their families too.
okay, I'm sorry, but if any this whoever it is, if this ever hits anyone, and you know, you are a parent who fucking okay, no one's saying don't be that it's wrong to be religious and believe and have faith, but if your child ever comes to you with these thoughts, because as you're
These thoughts.
as you're growing up, you start having more thoughts that like about, but it's normal. It is completely normal. And if you are a parent who shuts shit like that down and tells them that it is not okay for them, like, oh, bro, I fucking hate you for real.
It is human genetics.
It is human genetics, man. You just gotta teach them about the responsibility and everything that comes along with those things.
Yeah.
So don't be a fucking, don't be a just an asshole and just raise your kid, man. Do that, please.
Yeah, so like that happens, and I don't know if you want me to tell you more. I don't know, like something happens when he goes to look for his missing little brother.
Fuck, I am such like, I don't know. Cause I do want to watch it. I am gonna watch it.
So like in essence, it just all goes downhill from there, and the family's suspicions keep mounting against her. And she has to go through a whole bunch of crap, like, and again, it has to deal with witchcraft. So it's a good movie. It gives somewhat of the same feeling. It's still not as creepy as Hereditary.
So Hereditary is still more scarring.
Yeah, in terms of the way that they present things, Hereditary is creepier.
But the thing is,
this one's more straightforward with anything gruesome. It's more straightforward.
The thing that Hereditary did that no other movie or film has done, in my opinion, is the whole, like we've said again, the whole the aspect of uncertainty, the whole time, the whole movie, the whole film, the whole 127 minutes, it is nothing but uncertainty, man. It's always like, what the fuck is coming next? And then once that film ends, once the 127th minute is reached, it's like, just like, bro, obviously we know what transpired and we know everything, the insight and everything, but still you can't help but feel the uncertainty of like, god damn it, like this is something like, it's just, you just can't.
Yeah, so that's as much. It's not as uncanny as Hereditary, but it's still great in terms of, it's a period piece too, and I like period pieces. I like it when it's not modern times.
Oh yeah, because it actually shows. Yeah. Obviously now religion and like atheism, all that type of stuff, it's more accepted now. It's more accepted for you not to believe in God or in a God or in whatever belief.
But here it's set.
Yeah, during when would you say 1630? Then, back then it was
it was like colonialism.
Yeah, it was like during colonialism, and not just that, the fact that the Catholic Church was a huge thing, and people, to escape the whole like grip of the Catholic Church, for Christians, people who believe in the Christian belief, were always meant to not be allowed to. So why did Cologne, like, the whole, why did they colonize America? Was because they just wanted to be able to believe in Jesus Christ and fucking the Holy Spirit, the Son, and that
adds a lot of depth to this film about witchcraft. You know what I mean?
Exactly, because
people talk about witchcraft in modern times, but how was it back then?
Back then, you literally, it was like now. Okay, now like we know shit like sleight of hand and shit like that, but like like the one thing from that, like now, and I'm sure there's still people think like that, but like now, like when you do some, like back then when you would do some shit, like a simple fucking magic trick, like a card trick, that includes, we all know sleight of hand, nothing like that, like they would probably stone you to death or burn you alive because they believed you were some sort of like, that's just the norms back then, and that's just what, like.
Yeah, so that's what's very interesting about that movie. Again, it's not as creepy as Hereditary, and the deaths are more straightforward and less creepy, but it's a good movie, and it dives into that whole thing that
Era.
you're talking about, just like
The time.
what it means to be in such a religious heavy time, and also be dealing with, you know, this evilness that this family had to come upon. It's really good.
That's fucking crazy.
I was wild back then watching a movie like that. I was fun.
Alright.
Did you want to talk about Moonlight?
Okay, Moonlight, I don't mind if you go way more into detail because even though I am gonna watch it, I feel like I already know a lot of the premise of it regardless because I've read about it. You've explained to me a little bit about it, and I've read up on it, and like I've seen like certain scenes and stuff, so that you can just the trailer, yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Okay, so the next movie, okay, so that's gonna wrap it up for, Oh wait, how does it? You never said how it made you, or how did you explain how it made you feel?
It honestly piqued my interest. It made me very interested in what, because that movie, there had to be a lot of research put into it for what they executed. So it actually made me just read up on what exactly what evilness they were dealing with, why that was happening, and what it meant, the whole witchcraft thing, like, during that time. It really just made me interested. It interested me a lot because
it opened up that, how you said it's interested, and like it just opened it all that up for you, the whole, like, because that was at some point that was a reality for some people, that was a reality, just how right now coronavirus is a reality. Fucking we have an idiot for a leader in office right now. That is our fucking reality. And back then that was people's reality, fucking people got stoned to death.
That's what I'm saying, like, and you didn't think of like realities like that, you know what I mean? This is a movie that portrays something that not many people think about,
because it's something that we all went to we were on high school or middle school, elementary school, grade school, whatever, and we were taught a sugar-coated version of what it was all really like. And you were taught people colonized in the name of Jesus, in the name of the Lord, thinking that it was their destiny to fucking conquer land in the name of
and anyone who defied that
deserved to die or be enslaved or raped, or it was a harsh, very, very harsh reality. And like I said, we were taught like a very small percentage of that. Nobody really, and we still don't know all of it. There was like, we know this much, but do we really know all that really, like, that went down? Like, now more people are like starting to, like, but like, we weren't taught about it, and in my opinion that is wrong, because this is something that people suffered for. And the very least that we can do is fucking tell their stories, and like all these things. You feel me? Like, that's the very least that we could have done, in my opinion.
So it brings to light a lot of what it was like then, And even though they weren't natives to that, they were legitimately, white people
from
but
England.
It just shows they legitimately did one thing to defy religion, and they were outcasts. So it was just that one. That's why they got kicked.
What was it? Because what was it that they defied, or what was it?
I completely forgot, but it shows their trial with the church and how that they're kicked out and stuff like that. But it was something so small. I just forgot. It was just something that violated
back then,
religion,
like we said, back then you would have gotten, like, if you went against the Catholic religion, like, you literally, that's why people left. And back then it was like, you're Catholic,
you either accepted it or you were outcast,
or you were killed. Okay, now we're going to be moving on to Moonlight. Moonlight was directed by Barry Jenkins. The screenplay was written by Barry Jenkins as well. Nice. Okay. It was the release date was September 2nd, 2016, and it premiered in the U.S. Okay, so it had a budget of 1.2 million to 1.5 million, and box office revenue was 65.3 million. Okay, 111 minutes long. Okay,
that's good box
that is good, man. Honestly, $1 million.
The budget was super cheap.
Yeah,
but
$1 million.
Really good.
Was it good quality and everything?
Yeah, it was good quality. Everything.
Hey man, like I said, I know A24. They don't. All they do is drop bangers, but like, yo, they just give that creative control and that freedom to these directors and these producers and these screenwriters, like these people who write screen like plays, and like they just give that creative control, man, and that just pushes them, or that motivates them to like just make the best that they can with what they have. And it's like, no matter what, like they didn't have the biggest budget. 1.2 million, really, bro? 1.2 million can probably buy you some fucking mansion in LA, and that is it. Like that's literally what 1.5 million dollars can buy you, and that
not even a mansion in LA.
Yeah, just some nice property, some semi-nice property, you know.
An okay house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if you just put it into perspective, how much like that really is, and like you gotta account for, you gotta pay for locations that you know, certain, depending on the location you're filming, you know, you gotta pay the director, you gotta pay the producers, the cinematography, I wouldn't say the score, yeah, the music chosen, the, you know, people who edit the movie, cinematographers, the wardrobe, all this, you gotta account for that, like, so much, and it ain't cheap.
Making a movie ain't easy.
Yeah, alright, so we're gonna get into the trailer. Let's see. Yo, do we not have... Is it not have...
It would say if you were able to.
Oh my goodness, and this is something that... okay, we're gonna get into it. This is the guy who played the first African American journalist to ever be able to. He's the first he played the first in, what's it called, in the movie Jackie Robinson with Chadwick Boseman. He played the first African American journalist who was able to sit in the press room.
Damn.
Yeah.
I remember that moment in history too.
Yeah, that's who he played.
Wow.
This dude got range then.
To who, Ma? Huh? To you? How is you, man? I ain't seen you in like a decade. It's not what I expected. What did you expect?
Just that trailer tore me up, I'm gonna be honest, because the movie, I had to try not to cry the whole time. I had to try not to cry for the character. It's so they call
Okay.
him little.
The first assumption, like he's battling with his sexuality, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's so okay. I'm gonna tell you what it makes me feel, and it honestly just makes me feel. I hurt for this person that I've seen on the screen. That's when you know that a director's done a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the whole thing, again, his name is Chiron, but they
Chiron.
call him Little.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's again a rundown. It's during the crack epidemic.
In the 80s, or
I believe so. In the 80s.
yeah. Okay.
But,
Yeah. That's when they 80s babies, they call them crack babies
Yeah,
because
and his
that's
mother
was
is
battling with a crack addiction. Oh, wow.
And they weren't in the best situation financially. You know, he would have to heat up the water on the stove and put it in the bathtub, and that's how they would have hot water. Like that's the. It's so sad. It's just. That's a movie. It's so hard for me to like think about watching again because of just seeing all the pain that he as a little kid had to go through. Like already it starts off with him getting bullied by kids, like getting bullied by kids, and a drug dealer named Juan finds that out and kind of like shoos him away and like takes care of Little while.
But he's a drug dealer, right?
He's a drug dealer, but he's a good person.
Oh, okay.
He's a drug dealer, but he's a good person. And Little, it shows he doesn't talk. Like he doesn't. He's just silent. He's a silent kid. Like and Juan guides him. I guess you could say is like. Until like I don't want to spoil it, but
No, go for it.
Juan is a good person. And he guides him and he takes care of him. He shows him what it is to be a growing boy and like to be okay with like whatever emotions you're feeling and stuff like that, and to be a strong person. And the fact that he's a drug dealer, just he carries a sense of shame that he's trying to take care of his kid, but who
are
is
you?
he to say?
Because you're out here
To mold
dealing
this child,
dealing drugs that could possibly affect children. So
It doesn't help when he finds out that he's dealing drugs to his mother. And when he finds out that he had been dealing drugs to the mother, he confronts her and is legitimately like, "What are you doing?" Because she neglects him. Because of her addiction to it. She neglects him and has men over and, like...
that is just not an environment that children should be in.
Yeah, so he's alone, struggling with his sexuality. His mother's a drug addict. His father's not in the picture. And all he has is, do you want me to spoil it?
Yeah, go for it.
All he has is the drug dealer Juan, except Juan dies. Like,
He gets shot.
I believe so. I forget how he dies. I think he gets shot, caught up in something bad. It's just so, like, it's so sad. He's just so quiet, and you just feel bad for him. You know what I mean? You're just feeling bad for him. He's struggling with his sexuality. He has no one to turn to, and, like, there's a main person in his life that he's always sort of had an attraction towards. And both of them struggle with their sexuality, so it's kept very on the DL, the down.
Yeah, I would assume, yeah.
But people have been bullying him because they know what kind of,
because of his, his preferences
yeah,
and
because
whatever.
of his, it's noticeable, like when.
Of course, yeah.
So people, he has a school bully, and he has a bully that constantly bullies him, like that one constant bully that stays throughout his life, and the only person he has is the person he legitimately has a connection and attraction towards, but all of that changes when he's a teenager, and his friend that he had an attraction towards turns against him because he doesn't want to seem like he has that sexuality as well,
So he tries to fight it.
So yeah, they go to him, they tell him fight him, punch him, and he does it, regardless of the fact that, and how Little supposed to feel. The guy he felt he had.
He thought had the most connection to.
Legitimately trying to fight him because.
Sorry about that.
Because because his school bullies are making him. You know what I mean? He refuses to fight him. You know what I mean? So he just gets punched and punched, and like that's it. And you know, it all bubbles over to him just straight up his attacking his school bully one day with a chair, like maliciously, like straight up like beating him with a chair. You know what I mean? But it's something that he's held on to for so long.
And then of course, you know, once a child did that, it's the whole nerd. I'll wait before I get any further. Was the bully, was he African American?
He was African American.
Okay, you see, you know, here they gives us an insight that, you know, not all, you know, not all, like, you know, already he's struggling. He's already, I wouldn't say a product of his environment, but he's already, you know, fucking growing up around, you know, we all know it, a fucking inner city with fucking, okay, you know, already in society there isn't much regard for, you know, for young men and kids, and growing up around this type of environment there isn't much regard or care. In fact, they're, you know, they're labeled as something else. So when a child like this is going through so many things, you know, and he's just, everything is just building up, especially when he has a bully like this that, you know, makes his life living hell every single day. Yo man, you know, that just builds up, and one day you just fucking boil over and just fucking absolutely lose it and snap. Yeah. And you know, I'm assuming he does some shit like that. He beats the shit out of his bully with the fucking chair. I'm not gonna say rightfully so, but you know, I mean, what the fuck, man? Try to understand him, you know. Yeah. Also, you know, once some shit like this happens, there's always that narrative. A thug, African American, you know, or just a person of color, fucking labeled as thug and just said, oh, you know, he just fucking didn't care and just attacked. Like, it's always this narrative, but never really any questions like, whoa, what was he going through? You know, what the fuck? Like, it never.
And it's just like throughout the movie, there's 3 parts. They're labeled little, Chiron, and Black. Little is when he's younger, Chiron is when he's a teenager, and Black is when he's older. And this movie is based off of a poem, I believe, called In the Moonlight, Black Boys Look Blue. And I think what they mean by that is that he really is, throughout the movie, the portrayal of his character is just sad. Like, he's quiet, you see the sadness in his eyes all the time. You see his demeanor towards life, just being sad and being lost. And it's really, it just breaks your heart the whole time you're watching it. Right? So, you know, that happens where, you know, everything boils over. He attacks the person who's been attacking him for so long. You know what I mean? Badly. And the counselor knows who he is, like knows and
he
empathizes
sees him for the
with
person
him.
that he really is, right?
Yeah, so they're like, please, like, tell us what happened. Tell us that he was, like, make it so that you don't get in trouble for this. But again, he's quiet, like, he doesn't speak on anything because he doesn't feel heard, first of all. You know what I mean? So he gets incarcerated for that. He's already,
of course, see, that's what I just touched upon.
I believe he's like 17 or 18 when this happens. You know what I mean? And the relationship he had with that guy just fizzles away, kind of, especially after they pitted them against each other like that. You know what I mean? They had already had an intimate moment on the beach where they kissed, they made out, and it was something very special to him. And then after they were pitted against each other, you know, that just went away. You know, embarrassment on both sides. You know.
Yeah.
And then it fast forward to, it's so crazy, the contrast. You saw him when he looked like an adult, right? And it's so different from what he looked like
when he was
as
younger.
a kid. You know, as a kid he looked like a sad, very tiny, skinny, sad person. And you see the persona he's adopted, you know, now that he's older. The persona that he's adopted is a muscly, like, you know, strong, like, no one can mess with me. The way he looks as a person, he gives off that energy that no one can mess with. Like, he's strong. you know, he's not someone to mess with, and he had to adopt that because of the things that he went through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a tough persona.
Yeah. So, you know, it shows him again, like getting out of jail, and you know, he temporarily, you know, fell into the drug dealing, you know, aspect.
Well, that's his environment, though.
You know
He's
what I
just
mean?
a
He
product
fell
of
into
his
that. He
environment,
got
yeah.
some money, but then he got released from jail again, and decides to actually visit the guy he had an attraction towards. You know, see what's up, how are things going, and it's just, you see that little like spark of excitement to see him. You know, he's getting ready, trying to make himself like look clean, like, look, I'm a new person, like I want to show that. And he meets this guy, and he works at a diner. You know, the guy he had intimacy with, he works as a cook at a diner, but he truly has a passion for cooking. You know what I mean? And he walks in, he sees him, and at first he doesn't realize it's him until like he just sees, he can see further and realizes, oh, that is little. That is.
You know, when you first glance at, like, oh wait, what the fuck is that person?
You know, they start talking, and it's funny because he's still as quiet as ever. Like, he's still.
It's because you know, he had to put on this tough persona, but you know, here you are with this person who you were truly comfortable with, and like, vulnerable, comfortable with, and when you finally like, he just brings out that side of him. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy. So like, they go to a diner, and they go to his place, and they talk about like things going on, like, oh, what did you do with your life, you know, like, what are your goals, like, what do you know, he's like making him like
just catching up, and
you know, just catching up, and then it's so beautiful. Like, again, you're still skeptical, you're like, this can't be little, like, this can't be the dude that we saw, like, and I forgot to tell you about where he meets up with his mother, and his mother's in rehab, you know what I mean, and there's still like, as an adult, he meets up with his mother, and there's tensions there, you know, him wondering, you know, like, why were you
a drug addict?
Yeah, why did you do the things that you did to me? And the mother does show remorse after an initial, like, anger.
Yeah.
You know, she shows remorse but she tells him, I always knew that you were a strong person. I always knew that, you know what I mean? Like, she's like, I know that I was a bad parent, you know, she owns up to it. But there's this just beautiful moment, this is how the movie ends. Legitimately, you don't think it's little, you're just like, this isn't little, and then it just shows this moment where they're just sitting next to each other, and Little's crying on the dude's shoulder, like, he's crying, and then that's the moment where you're like, that's him, like, that's, you know, you couldn't connect it at first, but then you see a moment of vulnerability like that, you know, and like,
and that's just his true self. He's just a,
you
know, very quiet, fucking, you know, insecure, fucking vulnerable, fucking whatever dude who had been battling these emotions for the longest time, and just finally with this person that he once had a very, very like intimate connection with, you know, he just broke down and just
like, and they were still able to establish, you know, what they had, and it's such a, oh my gosh, the ending was so, he's just crying on his shoulder, man, it was beautiful, you know what I mean, and that's how it ends, you know, and
that's a strong message.
That's why it won Best Picture. That is why it won Best Picture.
During the Grammys, I mean the Oscars, right?
Was it the Oscars? I think the Oscars.
It was the Oscars. Yeah.
It's such a good movie, but it hurts. Like, it makes my heart ache to watch, you know, something like that, because I know there's so many people who go through stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's really hard. It was really hard to watch, but it was worth it, because to see that, you know, he was still able to
defile adversity and overcome a lot of stuff just to see who he you know, grew up, and you know, I know he made mistakes, but that's just because I don't care what anybody says. He's just a product of his environment. Like, you know, he might have fed into that whole lifestyle, but like,
he wouldn't be accepted otherwise.
Yeah, he wouldn't be accepted otherwise, and like,
it was less painful to put on
that persona than to
but yet there's those people that could still bring out those vulnerabilities in who you really are as a person, no matter how you make yourself seen, you know?
Yeah.
He's still there. He's still little, you know?
It's because it's somebody that knew you at your worst and just who knows you for who you really are, and like that's the whole
And he didn't even have the power to be angry at this person, you know what I mean? Like, because they ended on bad terms, but his walls were down when it came to him, you know what I mean? Completely. He's the only one that could understand him the way that
understand each other.
Yeah.
Because like I said, or like, you know, they were going through similar situations. They both struggled with their sexual spectrum and just things like that. So it's just when you have a connection with someone like that, it's just, as long as they're not like fucking absolutely like terrible and toxic, and then yo man, that's something important. That's something important that you need to have.
Such a great movie. It's such a great movie. I was getting teary-eyed when I was telling you about it right now. My throat was choking up. Like,
that's intense. It's wild.
it's a good movie. It just hurts me so much.
Yo, not bad, but look how long we've been going for. Like,
oh my god.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
2 hours. 2 hours, not bad. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Euphoria is a good one too.
Oh yeah. No, I wasn't gonna end it. I was just pointing it out. Like that's crazy. You know, from us being a little, you know, skeptical about doing this because we were like nervous that, you know, people might not. It doesn't matter. You know, people probably gonna see this later, or I'm assuming people will click on this later, hopefully. But it was started from us being a little nervous about doing this. But you know, now we just made that breakthrough. We made that breakthrough, and now we can fucking
we're just chilling.
Now we just vibing, having fun, talking about what we things we enjoy. Anyways, she's gonna, because we also specified how A24 also had TV shows, and there was a point in time where I had gotten the HBO subscription, and you know, she took advantage of that and saw Euphoria, you know, starring Zendaya, which is already something that we're not as used to seeing her, like something we're not used. I haven't seen it personally, but she's seen it and you know, regardless of me not seeing it, this is something I would call this like a breakout role for her, right? You would say this.
Yeah, from her traditional
Disney reigns and everything, like, you know, this is a breakout role in my opinion. You know, this is something, because this touched on like a lot of things, right? Like drug use, fucking.
I think the two main things is the narrative. The narratives on the show, I believe, are about drug addiction, and actually 3: mental health and young women. Honestly, like, it just shows, like, it really shows a representation of women that isn't pushing feminism, that isn't pushing strong women. It shows flawed women. It shows women who are struggling with their identity because they are women. It shows women struggling with drug abuse. It shows women struggling with mental health issues, or them just being seen as sexualized objects, which is a huge thing. It's about them taking control of what their sexuality is and who says what about it, you know?
Yeah.
It's very empowering to me.
And unfortunately, it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's empowering to me in a sense that they show different women. They show flawed women, not so great women. Some of them are not great people. Some of them are great people. You know, and not just that, it touches upon, you know, men as well, and the idea of, you know, masculinity and what seems right and what seems wrong. How, again, keeping up appearances can lead you down a dark and dangerous path just because. Not gonna lie, it isn't like typical high school life. I'm not gonna say that. Like, it is very, like, it
cliche.
Is still a lot of drama. No, it's not cliche.
Not cliche at all?
No, it's real in a sense that it brings drugs into the picture, because let's be honest, drugs are a huge thing in high school.
Okay, There is no way around it. Drugs were introduced. Okay, you know what? Unfortunately, man, I was a person who was introduced to drugs at a very, very young age, and you know, but I always knew what they were as a kid growing up. Like I'm talking about a small kid, from from my 5 years of age to my 10 years of age. I always knew what it was. Always, for unfortunate reasons that I don't want to get into. But then comes middle school, and then that's already like even more. And already at that such a young age, already stuff like that is already a thing that's being used by fucking young people. Then you get to high school, man, and then like obviously, it starts off with like marijuana, and then there's some people who don't know, just don't have the mental capacity to be like, this is a recreational thing. This is a just a thing that I enjoy, and not something that like, oh, I need it, and then that's where it comes to the whole feeling where this isn't enough for me. I need to move on to something, and they start, pills, and then it goes from pills to a harder thing. We all know, like, it's something that needs to be. I feel like it is talked about a little bit, but it's almost like glorified sometimes, or even fucking like, yo, I've met like, and I'm telling you from personal experience, like it's almost as if some girls too, but mostly guys, like a it's almost like a fucking bragging thing for them to say, like, of what they've done and how much they can do. Like, that isn't a good thing, man. That is not a good thing. It should not be glorified. Unfortunately, it's everywhere in rap music, movies. But the thing is, these people are telling it. Some people are telling it because of what they saw and and their environments. But some people do glorify it, and that is not right. And that's just the whole cycle.
And that's exactly what the show goes into, because it is about how drug abuse affects families as well. The main character, Rue, she struggles with not usual drug, like the hard stuff, anything that could make her feel a sense of euphoria. She's had trouble with, and it starts off with the fact that she overdosed, and she's just got back from a rehabilitation.
A rehab, yeah.
Everyone thought she was dead, and then she comes back over the summer, and it's about how it portrays teens in a way that they aren't stupid. You know what I mean? Like, teens, it portrays them as smart, yet troubled. And
I don't understand this whole, like, okay, teenagers, people who are just, barely starting to learn about life and everything. This whole narrative of, like, that teenagers are stupid and that they don't know anything, yo.
They're going through crap, man.
Yeah, I have met some people, man, and who, fuck, man, they have had some of the hardest lives. Like, they've had to live some hard ass shit. Yo, people fail to understand, especially older people, man, because it's like almost like they forget. It's
that
almost like that they were once teenagers, and no matter, like, okay, some are more privileged than others, and I'm not gonna understand. I'm gonna lie to you, their whole innocence and everything was preserved for a very long time. But for those, a lot of us, that gets spoiled out of so young, because by seeing things that you shouldn't see, or experiencing things that you shouldn't see. It's just and like, this puts you in such like turmoil within yourself, and like sometimes it might not make you make the best decisions. It might make push you to do bad things, like. And unfortunately, that's just a reality. And that's what I'm saying, like, people fail to see that, especially older adults fail to see this, where just because, and some of them fail to see it, some of them forget, or just don't remember what it was like growing up. But like, some of them just fail to realize and fail to like and just choose not to like feel like just be compassionate and just show like understanding to these people and like what do they do? Oh, you guys don't know anything. You need more experience. You guys are stupid. You don't know anything of the real world yet. But yo, these are real world problems, man. This is something that's really happening. Really happening. Young people at such a young age are dying from opioid addictions, drugs, fucking, you know.
Yeah, it's a crazy commentary and stuff like that. It is, and it's not just about her drug addiction. It's the fact that her drug addiction stems from the fact that she was put on drugs due to her mental illnesses that she had,
Which were
OCD,
opioids and pills and
anxiety.
stuff,
Yeah.
right?
She was put on the heavy stuff, so she's made dependent on these things. Yeah, if she stops them, her mind becomes a battlefield, basically. It's great. The cinematography's great. The makeup is great. Just, again, how it portrays women is great. Like, in a way that, again, they're flawed. They're not always the best people, but that's okay because that they have reasons, just like any other male protagonist does. You know what I mean? And
it just shows us, you know, it just for the men who aren't close-minded and aren't sexist and misogynistic and just fucking absolutely refuse to like, you know, take women into consideration into anything other than fucking objects. It just shows the struggles of well, I wouldn't say average women. I don't know, you know, but it just, you know, cause us as men, and unfortunately, I'm sorry and I apologize for, you know, on behalf of the men who really recognizes and truly realizes, like, yo, if you know, there are a lot of double standards, man. There are a lot of double standards that they have to go through, and you know, or they get portrayed some sort of way just because they're females. Like, it's just, it is a fucking, I'm sorry, but it is it sucks. It's a reality, and it's still continuing. It is still happening, and it's like,
yeah.
and it's just, I'm glad that it shows, it just gives insight because, you know, they have to struggle just as much as we do, and even more actually, because, you know, they bring life to this planet. They just everything, man. It's just, so I hope, you know, I'm glad that it's one of those not cliches and very, very upfront and just brutally honest about society and societal norms and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't just tackle the whole, you know, woman aspect of it. It is people struggling with their sexuality or just their gender identity as well, though, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Rue has a friend named Jules who's like the second main character, I'd say, and she is transgender, like, and it just it's crazy in that aspect too, because it ties into the fact, you know, there's another protagonist that's male and is struggling a lot with his identity as a person, because I don't want to get too much into it, but his father has been not his, okay, should I spoil it?
Just spoil it.
His father's been having sex with young men behind and filming it.
I remember that.
Yes, and filming it, and his son, who's a protagonist, finds that out, and he makes it his goal to be exactly the opposite of what his father prefers. So he's a popular guy. He only likes girls who are hairless. He only likes girls who look feminine. He only, you know, he completely, yet Jules comes into the picture, and Jules is a transgender female, so originally male, but now female. And Jules has sex with his father, and he sees that tape. And so there's this whole internal dilemma, because it seems as if he's denying something so harshly, yet he needs to push down this somewhat of an attraction he has towards this Jules person. And it's crazy. It's so crazy. But in essence, it makes him an even more evil person. because of instead of coming to terms with his sexuality and what he prefers, he's doing whatever he can to cover up the tracks that his father and he have made.
Doesn't he like beat her? No. Is that the same one where his friends come in and they fucking like almost
No, that was another character. And yeah, it was about a couple.
It is. I've watched a little bit. I saw some scenes and like I watched. Like I said, I wasn't fully paying attention to it and watching it, but no, I did see certain scenes, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it is really.
It's very explicit.
It's a very explicit, and it's just because, like I said, these are man, like. I don't know what the fuck kind of world people live in, especially sheltered people, and I'm sorry to say that, but yo, man, y'all need to rip that bandage off immediately, because you're gonna be in for a rude awakening if you think life is all fucking sunshine and rainbows, because it isn't, man. It is not. It is fucking not. People struggle with identity issues. People fucking are raped. People are like, it's just, there's so much dark reality to life, and it's just
A24 brings that out.
The more I feel like the more we are in tune with that, and the easier it is, it could be to cope with things, and also like and social, like certain like certain fucking aspects of society, like societal norms, like shit like that, where like it is not okay for women or men to have sexual changes, like if that's not who they identify themselves as, then yo, bro, by all means, man, whatever makes you comfortable, or fucking.
And it's crazy again because it doesn't push it as if there's some sort of agenda. To push it.
Like, okay,
you don't even find out about Julie. You kind of have to find out about it yourself.
We kind of spoke on this. I'm not, I'm glad that it's now being more normalized, and a thing for people to not make it as weird for them to come out and whatever. But me and her did have a conversation about this, about the whole, no matter what, the whole gay agenda, like from Netflix and stuff like that,
gets pushed in a way that it's unnatural.
It's unnatural, and then it makes it seem ungenuine, and then like when people like they get judged some sort of way because they whatever, like this just puts it in a way where it's
there's other ways to go about it without pushing it like it's an agenda. Jules is a transgender character, but that's not all of what she is in that show. She doesn't even say, I'm transgender. You find
just
out.
know, right?
You find out through, things, and, it shows that this is a real person. There's other complications that she's going through than just she's not just transgender.
That's not just her only problem in life, yeah. And that's what we appreciate, and like we said again, A24, creative control to the people, and the fact that they aren't afraid. I appreciate that. The fact that they're not afraid to, touch on those subjects that a lot of people don't want to talk about, because it's a hard topic. It is very, very hard to. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. But yeah, those are hard fucking topics that not everybody wants to talk about. Not everyone in Hollywood or everyone and this just gives a sense of like comfort and like maturity to things, where it's like, oh, it is okay to like fucking be transgender, but that doesn't define me. That doesn't define me. Like, I am that. Like, yes, that is something that I chose for myself, but there's more to me than just being labeled you know, because I've seen things, man. I've seen like the way they talk about people like that, like you know, they call them fucking freaks or like some shit like that. Like, you do that is not the right way to address something like that. And you know, these things, A24 basically, you know, offers this, especially with Euphoria, and they give this sense of like insight and, you know, like, you know, comfort. No, I wouldn't say comfort. I don't know if it does or not, but you know, it gives people an understanding that it's okay to, you know, be feeling the way you are about your whatever, you know, whatever.
It's a great show. Great show. It tackles a lot of subjects that I feel like a lot of teenagers, you know, a little bit of older teenagers, you know, like 18 maybe, should really watch this show. It's, you know, it shows that it's not always what high school's portrayed as in other.
Like in all, oh, you know, fucking popular people, fucking, yes, you know, bullying and all that shit exists, but like a lot of these fucking, like for example, we can name off a lot of things that, you know, a lot of shows, a lot of that is on mainstream media nowadays, like on.
And like it's okay in a sense that yeah, like we get entertained by that crap too.
Yeah,
but it's
like
refreshing to see something.
It also puts. The only thing that sucks is that these are the type of shows that are basically the most known, like the whole fucking Riverdale and like, you know, I don't know. I never really fully watched, you know, the whole what was that one? 13 Reasons Why, and like I didn't really watch it, so I don't know if that category. But like a lot of shows, you know, that have a lot of high school cliches and shit like that are usually, which we again, it's there's nothing wrong with these, you know, there isn't, but like, you know, the ones that offer so many cliches are usually the ones that are more on the forefront, like, or the ones that get recognized the most, and then us as a society choose that, oh, then that's how it, or it's, you know, people as sometimes be like, oh well, that's how it really is, when in reality it's not just little fucking things that you there's people out there going through it at such a young age. Like, that, man, bruh, you think you're older people, you know, that have financial security and everything, and like they think life is hard, but man, like imagine fucking growing up without a father, and like, you know, wrestling with your inner sexuality, and you know, fucking questioning yourself, and it's terrible, and it is okay for people to be feeling that way, and that needs to be normalized, and you know, that needs to be normalized in my opinion. And that's like basically that again, you know, this A24 films, unfortunately, you know, even though now I am seeing A24 being more prominent and a lot of more people talking about this. I saw this whole thread on Twitter talking about Euphoria. I didn't go too deep into it, but it was like a huge thing now. Like, Euphoria has gotten picked up, and it's like it's almost pioneered A24, and just it's okay to show things like these on me and like movies, and like, it's okay. It's okay, because this is reality. This is the world, how it is right now. And yeah. So, anything else you want to? Okay. Also, A24 films that you know we have, that we would, you know, either just suggestions for, you know, these are films that we want to watch, you know. And the reason we're bringing them up is because, I don't know, it might because we found them interesting, and you know, these are movies that, or films that, you know, might interest you guys as well, and that might bring you or put you on into A24, and you know, you guys can keep. Okay, so the first one is High Life. High Life was
Yes, sir. Up right there.
right here. High life. Okay. Monte and his baby daughters are the last survivors of a damned and dangerous mission to deep space. The crew death row inmates led by a doctor with sinister motives has vanished. As the mystery of what happened on board the ship is unraveled, father and daughter must rely on each other to survive as they hurtle towards the oblivion of a black hole. That just sounds to me like fucking mindfuck already. Okay, the other one was the Florida Project, which was down, I think, here. Florida Project. Okay. Oh my goodness. Set on a stretch of highway just outside the imagined utopia of Disney World, the Florida Project follows 6-year-old Mooney, Brooklyn Prince in a stunning breakout turn, and her rebellious mother Haley. Over the course of a single summer, the two live week to week at the Magic Castle, a budget motel managed by Bobby, a career best. Wow, a career best Willem Dafoe. Okay, whose stern exterior hides a deep reservoir of kindness and compassion, despite her harsh surroundings. The precious and ebullient Mooney has no trouble making each day a celebration of life. Her endless afternoon overflowing with mischief, and grand adventure as she and her ragtag playmates, including Jancy, a new arrival to the area who quickly becomes Mooney's best friend, fearlessly exploring the utterly unique world into which they've been thrown, unbeknownst to Mooney. However, the delicate fantasy is supported by the toil and sacrifice of Hallie, who is forced to explore increasingly dangerous possibilities in order to provide for her daughter. Damn.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a whole breakdown on, like, parents who fucking, parents who unfortunately get put into situations where, man, like, you have children and you can barely take care of yourself. And sometimes women, mothers, have to do things that they might not always want to do to provide, but unfortunately they have to do. And then right here, a career best whose stern exterior hides a deep reservoir of kindness and compassion. So okay, that just sounds like such a emotional roller coaster right there, man. Honestly.
Yeah.
All right.
I heard it's heartbreaking, so I don't know what happens, but I heard that it's
heartbreaking. I just hope if he's filled with compassion and kindness and everything, I hope nothing happens to him. Okay. The third ones that I truly caught my attention is called It Comes at Night. And this film came out in 2017, written and directed by Trey Edward Schultz. Okay. Imagine the end of the world. Now imagine something worse. An award-winning film. Okay. As he grapples with mounting terrors, external and otherwise, in the aftermath of an unclaimed cataclysm, secure with a desolate home with his vigilant, protective, and heavily armed parents, Joel. Okay. 17-year-old Travis navigates fear, grief, and paranoia and scarce resources as a desperate young couple seek refuge in his home with their child. Despite the best intentions of both family, panic and mistrust boil over as the horrors of the outside world creep ever closer. But they are nothing compared to the horrors within where Travis discovers that his father's commands may come at his soul. Wow. That sounds
wild, dark.
That sounds dark. And then the other one was Ex Machina. We briefly had seen this one.
Yeah, we watched like the first 5 to 10 minutes.
I don't remember. I think we fell asleep, right?
I think we started falling asleep, so we changed it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was probably a long day or something. Like, we started watching it and we started falling asleep. But written and directed by Alex Garland, came out in 2015. Okay, I'm gonna just read it from here. A programmer at an internet search giant wins a competition to spend the week at the private mountainous day of the company's brilliant and reclusive CEO, Nathan Bateman. Upon his arrival, Caleb learns that Nathan has chosen him to be the human component in a Turing test, charging him with evaluating the capability and ultimately the consciousness of Nathan's latest experiment in artificial intelligence, so an AI. The experiment is Ava, Alicia Vikander, a breathtaking AI whose emotional intelligence proves more sophisticated and more deceptive than the two men could have imagined. Oh my goodness. I know this one was super popular, right? Mm-hmm. This one got a lot of fucking, like, a lot of, like, a good positive feedback, if I'm not mistaken. So this is gonna be an interesting watch as well. I know more people know about this one. So yeah, those were movies that are films that caught our attention by A24 Films that we still haven't watched, and might push you guys or to watch those as well, that may put you onto A24. And yeah, that's a whole, with 2 hours and 42 minutes in, and we just basically broke down Hereditary. But definitely this is something that, I don't know, as from for myself, this is something that I want to do more often. And we can go on from there and dissecting other movies and other topics as well. And we briefly touched, we did talk about Hereditary, and there was brief moments when we just compared real life situations to the movie, and especially considering how we talked about The Witch, which was shit that happened in real life, like back then. We talked about the whole religion and everything, and then Moonlight as well, where just the whole young man and the narrative that, especially inner city, like these are especially that one. I would say that's something that's happening now. Moonlight, I mean, Euphoria is something that people struggle with now, and like that's something that we reserved ourselves from talking about more heavier subjects on the first, but best believe that we're gonna get into it. We will get into it in more, real life subject. Not even just that, we want to talk about fucking space and shit, aliens and ghosts, and just stupid shit like that, man. Like, so we're gonna be getting into shit like that, and I hope you guys enjoyed. As for this episode, I think that's it. Right?
Episode for this episode.
I think that pretty much wraps it up, and I'm glad that we did this. And I hope you guys enjoyed once again. And as for me, that's it.